Alright, this video is going to show you how to do our water plan for our houses. We need to have pipes that are going to be for our cold water. We're going to need pipes that are for our hot water. And then we need to distribute that throughout the house to everything that's going to need water. After we get done with that, we also need to have sewage. So we have to allow for all that water to be drained. And then we are pulling that water from the street, and then we're taking our sewage back out to the street. Okay, so we're going to start by just kind of pointing out some things with this house. So here's a simple floor plan for the tiny home. I want to point out the things that are going to use the water. So I have a dishwasher here. The refrigerator might use water, so we could run a water line to that as well. This piece right here is the tankless water here. Okay, so that's what this is, just to kind of show you where that is. I have a sink in the bathroom, I have a shower in the bathroom, and I also have a toilet. So all of these things are going to use water, and then these two over here are going to use water. So you're going to have to first figure out everything that's going to need the water, and then we're going to go ahead and create those lines for that. Before we can start though, what we're going to be using to kind of sketch this out here is under annotate, we're going to use detailed lines. Okay, so we're just going to annotate where those pipes are. When you click on the detail line, okay, we need to have colors that are going to represent the different things. So I'll use blue for the cold lines, I can use red for the hot water, and then I'm not really sure what they use, but we can use like green for sewage. We'll just use green. And so we have to actually create those lines first. So you can see I have a blue line option because I've already made that. But you're going to have to make all three of those colors in order to use them. Okay, so let's go ahead and show you how to make those colors. If you go into Manage, okay, under Additional Settings, there is going to be a line styles option. Okay, this is going to allow you to change the colors of the lines, thickness of the lines, etc. Okay, so if I go into line styles, you'll see here's lines with the line weight being at 1, and then it's just going to be a solid color here. So if I click on that plus, it shows you kind of all those options that are already here. Okay, and we're going to be basically creating our own. So I've created the blue line. I did a weight of 3. Here's that blue color. Okay, so to make your own, you're going to go ahead and create new for your subcategory. Okay, and then we are going to go ahead and name this, let's just say red line. Okay, so I'm going to do my hot water. I can hit OK. Okay, so I see red line is here. I'm going to stick with 3, just being what I've already done with the blue line, and then where it says black, I need to make sure that I am choosing red as my color. Okay. Let's see here. Don't want it that far down. No, is that red enough? Maybe I just base color. That's better. Okay, so I can hit OK. So you can see that that is set up. I'm going to also just create my green line as well for my sewage, since I have blue, red, and now I got to do green. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to do the same thing here. 3, and then instead of black, I'm going to turn it to green, and then I can hit OK. So now I've created those. Okay, I can hit apply and hit OK. Now when I go to annotate, and then I click on that annotate tab and I hit detailed line, those are now going to be options for me to use. Okay, if you don't do that, you're only going to see these options over here, and you're not going to be able to do what we're doing. Okay. So for our floor plan, before I do anything, I'm not going to actually use my floor plan to do this. I'm going to actually make my own separate sheet for this. So what I'll do before I even do the detailed lines is I'm going to go ahead and right click on level 1, and I'm going to duplicate this view. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this like water pipe plan. So rename that, water plan, okay? And now that water plan is going to be my own view, and now I can go ahead and edit this view. That way when we do our sheets, we can have level 1 just in general without all the annotations, and then I can have a separate area where I can label that water plan, and then I can show that view separate. Okay. So now I'm going to click on detail line, and I'm going to start with my blue line, which is my cold water. So water in general that's coming from the village or the city is coming in from the street. And so I'm going to just say my street's out here. This is kind of my front door, so it's facing the street. So I can just kind of go ahead and bring that water line in. Generally speaking, when we're dealing with water lines, they are going to be they're going to be coming in from the street, and usually you want your hot water heater over by where it comes in from the street, right? You don't want to be running cold water across your entire home to your water heater and then run it all the way back. So it's usually in like a house like my house, it's in the basement, and then that water heater is placed towards the street, so it can get to that water heater right when it gets into after it gets through that valve into the house. So when you're planning this, you should kind of keep that in mind. This is usually going to just be a straight line in, but I'm kind of messing that up. And I'm just going to take my blue line and I'm going to go right over, and I'm going to go click and bring that to my water heater. Okay, so that blue line is representing the cold water coming in, and it's going to go into the water heater. Now, not everything that we use needs hot water, okay? And things that do need hot water also usually need cold water, okay? So we're going to be running cold water pipes to everything. Generally speaking, you want to try to keep your pipes in the walls, okay? So I'm going to go drag this, and I'm going to head down this way through the walls to the toilet, okay? And so that's showing that that water is going to the toilet. And then I can also run my cold water both to the shower, and I'm also going to run that to the sink. Okay. I also need to run cold water over to my dishwasher and my refrigerator, so I'm going to just run that through the walls over here, and then I'm going to go over and connect both my refrigerator and my dishwasher. All right. So those lines are just representing the pipes that are going to be going to each of those components. Okay. If you have a solid wall that goes through, that's better, because you can just run your pipes right through the wall. When you have a pipe like this, where there's no wall, you're running into the problem where those now have to either be in the floor or the ceiling in the lower level, which is fine, but it's just something you need to keep in mind when it comes to pipes. Okay. So here I have my cold water all set. All the things that need cold water have it. So now I'm going to go ahead and move over to my hot water. So I'm going to switch over to my red line. Now my red line is going to be starting on my water heater. I don't get hot water from my village or my city, right? So I'm going to be coming out of my water heater. I can just follow these blue pipes. Okay. Now, my toilet does not need hot water. That should be self-explanatory. So I'm going to go ahead and run my pipes this way, right alongside my cold ones. I'm going to have my hot water go here to my sink, and then my hot water is also going to my shower. Now, generally speaking, your hot water is on your left. Okay, that's just how things are set up. Then I also need hot water for my dishwasher, so I'm going to run my hot water right through here over to my dishwasher, and my refrigerator is not going to need hot water, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave it like that. So these lines are all representing the actual pipes that are going through the house and how that's going to be laid out for everything else. Now, the more bends that you have, the more pressure that can take up, so you don't want a lot of bends if possible. So they're at right angles, and you're kind of just moving those through the walls, preventing as much bending as possible. The other thing I should probably mention is, generally speaking, we don't like putting pipes on the outer wall due to freezing. Now, you can insulate those and it'll be fine. There's plenty of situations where that's where it's got to go. But generally, if you can keep the pipes inside the house, you're less likely to have pipes burst when it gets really, really cold out. Okay, now with that said, the last thing we need to do is have the drainage. Okay, so the refrigerator doesn't have drainage, but our dishwasher is going to have drainage. And then I'm going to have like my toilet and my sink, and my shower also needs drainage. So we're going to use green line for that. And so all I'm going to do here is kind of draw that drainage. One of the things that you need to keep in mind with drainage is you don't want to have drainage at right angles. Logically think about what you're going to be like flushing down the toilet. When you have things at right angles, that's not going to be great for that. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind here. Okay, so from here I'm going to kind of just drag these out, and so they're at an angle. So these can kind of, let's see here, we can have these meet up like this if we want. So from here to here, and so we don't have any right angles on those to help that out. Now, when you are doing your drainage, one of the things that you want to keep in mind is, generally speaking, we want to keep this like about 2 feet from the other pipes. The reason for that is you do not want to have seepage where your sewage is getting into your water pipes. Okay, so you want to keep those away from each other. In this case, the way I have my pipes laid out, I'm going to have to cross it somewhere. The other option is maybe run the pipes out a different area. So what I could do here is maybe something like this, where I have my drainage out here. Go ahead and delete that line. So we could do something like this. Yeah, so let's go ahead and rearrange these. So I'm going to delete these lines. Let's do it a different way here. So we're avoiding the very issue that I'm talking about. Okay, so here I have my drainage going that way. Here I can run detailed line. Let's make sure it's green. Out to the street over here, and then we have, keep clicking off my detail line here. So you have all these lines. Let's go here. Right, we can connect that out like that. Okay, and so there we have a good system here. Maybe this line is a little bit more angled than what I have it at. Let's see here. Okay, so I can run it out so it's more of an angle while still avoiding being next to my pipes, right? So now I'm not worried about the seepage in case there is a leak of sewage out of those pipes, and I can run my sewage out the side over here. So that is the idea behind this, thinking about how you would run your pipes, where you have cold, hot water, and then your sewage as well, all planned out for your house.